everyone, welcome to Climbing the Corporate Ladder. We've got Deepti Vohra with us. Before we dive straight in, Deepti, do you want to just introduce yourselves?
Yes, absolutely. Thank you, Payal. My name is Deepti. I am a partner in our audit practice at PwC. So I work in our financial services team and specifically with insurance clients. So yeah, that's a bit about me. I grew up in India. And I moved to the UK to study some more before I joined PwC. But I'm probably what we call a PwC lifer. So I've been at PwC right from when I started on the grad scheme.
Wonderful. That's great. Well, actually, it would be great if you can just start off telling us about your journey into corporate leadership. And actually, did you know you always wanted to be a partner?
Yeah, of course. So yeah, like I said, I joined on our grad scheme, and I was quite fortunate. I felt to get offered that position with PwC because my background was, I think, quite different to others when I was applying for jobs.
Right.
A lot of my educational qualifications I'd gained in India, and I came to the UK for a master's. So I really jumped at the opportunity when that was given. And I still feel very fortunate to have been given that opportunity all those years ago, and it has been a good few years. So in my time at PwC, I've done a lot of things. I've always been focused on the audit side of things, but I've had opportunities to work with some incredible people, some really interesting organizations. I've gone out and done secondments as well. So a huge variety. And I think that's one of the things that's kept me so interested, the fact that no year is the same here at the firm. Always doing something different. You get to work with such fantastic people as well. We do always talk about the kind of the culture that we have here at PwC, but it really is true. It's the people that make the experience even better.
I can vouch for that.
Yeah, and it's any team you go to, right, Paul? See, we were talking earlier. You've moved teams, but I'm sure that you find that culture is still the same.
Exactly, definitely. And I've moved completely. So I used to be in assurance actually, and moved across the deals, and yeah, it's exactly the same. So definitely.
Yeah, and then
And
just going back to your question, yeah, did I always know? Easy answer, no. I didn't always know. And I think especially when you're starting out, getting to partner seems so far away that it's not until you're quite well progressed into your career that it begins to seem like a possibility. The one thing I did know though was that I wanted to be successful, and I can remember that ambition from a very early age. So I knew I wanted to be successful and really good at what I did. But no, I think that the reality and possibility of making it to partner probably only came a few years ago.
Okay, well, that's really interesting. I think a lot of us, when we start off, we're not sure what to expect. So I guess knowing you'd want to be partner at a young age when you've not really experienced or had so many opportunities is a bit daunting. But I guess what we wanted to know also is what challenges did you overcome in your journey to becoming partner, or what was your one biggest challenge that you can think of?
Yeah, so plenty of challenges. So when I say I've always had that ambition, has that ever wavered? Yes, absolutely. Have I ever doubted whether I could get there or I could be successful in what I do? Yes, absolutely. To that as well. And I think we have to recognise that there will always be times when we question ourselves. It's then really thinking about what keeps you going. So I mean, so some of the challenges. So I guess I'll probably talk about two, and one was really early on in my career, and it was when I started at the firm, and because I'd grown up in India, the culture that I then came into, not just at the firm but just to the UK as well, was very different.
Right.
And adapting to that, and then also adapting to the ways of working, that took me some time, and I did find that quite hard, and just basic things that you do differently. It took me a while to understand how things are done. So that would be what I would recognize as a challenging period. But again, you have to just give yourself time.
To adapt.
Yeah, exactly. To adapt and to understand, because you don't want to lose who you are. You don't want to change yourself, but you've got to kind of figure out how things work. And the second, I guess, sort of challenging time I would say is when I came back from maternity leave. So I have a 9-year-old daughter, and when I came back from maternity leave, I came back to a similar role to the one that I had left, but I just found working really difficult. The flexibility just is very different. You don't have that much flexibility as you did before. And I think coupled with that was also the fact that they just weren't that many role models at the time. There weren't many people who had navigated successful careers and having a family, and therefore I think seeking out those people was difficult. So I kind of had to go through it and experience it myself. I'm not saying I didn't have support, I absolutely did. But in terms of those role models who had made it all the way through, there weren't as many at that point. I don't think that's the case anymore. I think it is changing, and we've got plenty more. But I think that would be the other time I would have found quite challenging.
That actually takes us nicely on to the next question, because one thing that I really wanted to know was, how have you been able to balance the corporate life with other aspects of your life, not necessarily personal, but even things like going to the gym or having a hobby or work, but so if you're doing something for PwC but non-work related, so kind of just how do you juggle all of those aspects and having a kid and everything that comes with that?
Really good question, because it is a balancing act, and I think there's no doubt about it, and it isn't always easy, and I do think it's really important that we recognize that, and everyone recognizes it, that if you have other responsibilities, for example, outside of work, balancing things is not always easy. And I've made loads of mistakes, and I haven't found it easy either. But I think what I've now come to realize is being really clear on what your priorities in life are. Work's always been a big part of my life, but it's not the only part. My family's very important and is right at the top of that list. But there are other things, like you said, that are important to me as a person. So, I've done a lot on our diversity and inclusion agenda, something I feel hugely passionate about. And I've been able to find opportunities to do that at work, which for me has been just incredible, because it's something that's so important to me as a person. And you can do more of that at work. And people do ask, well, where do you find the time? When things like that are so personal to you are so important, it doesn't feel like work. You're just living your personal purpose. It's not work. I wouldn't be doing anything else. That's me, and that's what I want to do. So I think, but having that clarity on what's important, I think that clarity can help guide you through the balancing act. And I think the other thing I've come to realize is it's never going to be perfectly balanced life. There's always going to be certain pulls from the different parts of life.
It's really busy and it's unmanageable, and then there's times when it's all okay and organized. But when you say identifying your priorities, that identifying to you or also to others, kind of talking to your colleagues about it, or people in your work, so like managing expectations?
Yeah, and that's a really good question, Payal. I think the first thing you do have to identify it for yourself, because you need to know yourself what is important to you. But then equally important is how you communicate that and share that with others. So if I've got a school commitment out, which will come in the middle of like my working day, I need to talk about that and share that with my team, so they know that I'm going to be more busy with that on a particular day. but again, I think it's first identifying what's important for you, and then being brave to share it, because we're all human.
Yeah,
No one expects us to be just someone who works. We've all got lives outside.
definitely. That's really good to know. You mentioned your work in the D&I space. I wanted to ask, do you feel kind of Hindu or Asian women or people from ethnic groups still have a long way still have a long way to go in breaking the glass ceiling?
So I think we do have some way to go. Um, I think we are making progress, but it's too slow for my liking. So like I said, I don't want to not recognize the progress that is being made, but yes, we still have a good way to go. So we have to keep trying. We have to keep pushing.
How do you think our community, our Asian community, can help? And also, what should our aspirations be? Because we obviously see other women like yourself doing really well, and getting to partner. So, what do you think? How do you think our community can help each other?
Yeah, so I think in terms of the aspirations, I don't think we should change our aspirations of who we want to be because of our ethnic background. So my message in terms of aspirations would be whoever you want to be, do whatever you want to do. Um, you know, it will be difficult, and we can talk a little bit more about it. But don't be limited by what maybe perhaps you don't see enough of yet. Um, Coming to your point about community and what we can do collectively, I think that there is a big responsibility on people who have made it through to those senior positions and say through the ceiling. Um, I think that just comes with a responsibility, and that responsibility is to make it easier for others, because those individuals will know about the challenges, they'll know about the unique difficulties faced. So that responsibility, it comes with your success. We all have to come together to make it easier for the next generation.
Yeah, I could not agree more. Um, a question on kind of your religious values, and I'm not sure kind of how religious you are, but do you feel your religious values, or even your spiritual values, have guided you in your career, or even maybe hindered you?
Yeah, so I think when it comes to values, all to very personal values, and growing up, I grew up with a large family. The values of respect, the values of putting others before yourself, the values of celebrating each other's success.
Yeah.
Um, I would hope that I do take through in how I work now with my teams, because I think if you've grown up with those values, you can't change them. They become part of who you are. So I hope I bring those in my work life as well.
Wonderful. Um, I guess one final question. What advice would you give to a graduate or to that ambitious partner who sees you and sees you've made it and wants or hopes to do the same?
So I would say be brave. Um, be brave enough to chase those dreams that you have. I think, as I said before, I won't guarantee that it's going to be easy. In fact, I can guarantee that it will probably be difficult, but I can also guarantee that it will be worth it. Um, and we've got to start changing how things are. Um, one very memorable moment for me was when I made it to partner, and this was a manager from our community who wrote to congratulate me. She said, and her words were, "Your success means as much to us as it does to you personally." And that's just something that has been so precious to me that I will remember always. And that's the impact that that it has. So my advice will be brave, go for it. Don't let anyone tell you that you can't, because you can.
Wonderful. No, that's been really insightful. I'm sure it's helped everyone watching. So thank you so much, Deepti, and thank you so much for your time today.
Thank you, Payal.